Good evening, and welcome to Southeastern 14, presented by Steaks. I'm Chris Lee, joined by Blake Lovell, the artist formerly known as Blayne Gilmer. And the trolling has begun. I think Blake is trolling me with the shirt. Blayne is trolling two fan bases at once, and we are not even 30 seconds underway. Hello, gentlemen.
I'm not trolling anything. There is going to be some numbers put up by Joe Milton this weekend. Let me tell you something. Joe Milton may throw for 300 yards in the fourth quarter against South Carolina. They just gonna be slinging that pigskin late. Style points, baby, coming this weekend.
So you are trolling him?
I am not. I'm legitimately telling you that Joe Milton is going to go ham this weekend in the fourth quarter versus South Carolina. They're going to be just dropping bombs on South Carolina.
You know who else been going ham? Our man Tyler. Because
Tyler's back.
As a new parent, that's the only way you can go. So, yes, glad to hear it, Tyler. Glad everyone's doing well. So,
let's see. What have we got tonight? We got not the best slate of games. I joked early in the week that we all need to wear black in mourning of the death of a good football schedule, but it's not as bad as I thought. I mean, you got Arkansas and Ole Miss could be interesting with the weather. I know there's not as much at stake. I'll be watching Vandy in Florida here in Nashville this weekend in the game that's a little more interesting than we thought a week ago. Georgia, Kentucky, on the other hand, there's that. That's not quite as interesting as we thought. We've got LSU, UAB. UAB is not awful. There's a lot at stake for LSU. South Carolina and Tennessee. We have our opinions of that. It will be played. And yeah, I mean, it's not the best schedule, but we could be doing worse. We've seen worse week 12s before.
I try to block all the week 12s out of my memory. You know, they say you block the most painful experiences in life out of your mind, just a like defense mechanism of your psyche there. And I'm just telling you, this is an awful slate of games. But hey, at least Ole Miss and Arkansas could be entertaining there. And then, all of a sudden, like you said, Arkansas found a little bit of a defense. I don't know if that's more of a product of their defense or it was LSU's lack of execution on the offensive side. But hey, they held a LSU team to 13 points, and we'll see if Fortin plays and does a little better for them, or KJ Jefferson or whoever it is. But that's it. That's the intrigue there this week. And also, can the 3-7 Aggies circle the wagons and beat a strong UMass team over there? Because that would be, they're only a 33-point favorite, but we've seen them squander these big point spread games before. But I don't know. We'll see what the Aggies do this weekend.
Well, when Chris and I we did the prediction video, what was it, Chris? I think the ESPN had a glitch and it showed Texas A&M's offensive stats and it actually showed the Bears' offensive stats. It had Justin Fields at quarterback. A&M would love to have Justin Fields at quarterback right now. They have a few more wins under their belt, maybe. But I mean, yeah, it's not the best slate, but you know what? It's still a very important slate for three teams in particular. And I know they're all big favorites, but as we always say, strange things happen. And at least I think going into this week, there is the excitement of the fact that Georgia, Tennessee, and LSU are still playing for something much bigger, and every game matters at this point. And so you can at least lean on that and see how these three teams perform. So,
little blood in the water between South Carolina and Tennessee already, too. There's that. We talked about that before the show.
Shane Beamer seems to have a way of getting under every fan base's skin, so to speak. Him and I seem to have much akin to each other. We have a way of doing that. But I'm just telling you that Beamer is a outgoing guy. He knows that listen, you either got to be better than, worse than, or different than. He's not going to be better than a lot of teams right now with the quality of talent they have in South Carolina. So he's trying to be different than. He's trying to be that exciting, fun type coach, get a lot of attention on South Carolina. And sometimes that rubs some fan bases the wrong way. And, shot his mouth off about the Georgia State loss that Tennessee suffered a couple years ago up there, I think, when they beat them earlier this year. And, now there's a little bit of animosity there, but they got to go. They get to host Tennessee in their stadium. The towels for at least the opening kickoff will be rocking in there. The white towels, sandstorm will be going. Then it'll probably be done. That'll be it. But hey, Tennessee's gonna jump on them early, and they're not gonna let up. They're gonna mash the gas till the clock hits triple zeros. They may hang 100 on them.
Well, I don't want to do the preview video with you guys, but the over via our friends at Cover seems like a lot of trends in the favor of the over here. 66 points. So for all you bettors out there, Juan and others, take your picks on the over under on that one. So
yeah, I think I like the over on that. Wasn't that something that we picked when we did the video? I mean, we've done so many, and 2 days away is an eternity these days. But
I didn't know if South Carolina would score enough to hold up, their end of the bargain to make the over on this. But Tennessee may score, 66 or whatever it is by themselves, legitimately. So, like Tyler's saying here, Tyler jumps in and says Tennessee will probably cover by themselves. So I agree that could be the case. But man, it's going to be interesting because for one reason, I guess I'll go ahead and break that open is Tennessee's at 5. But if I'm a Tennessee fan, I do not feel really good about the committee putting USC at 7. And then not just because USC, but because of what the committee is doing. And you can see it. You can see it building what they're trying to do. They're trying to elevate USC's schedule enough, remaining out there with UCLA, with Notre Dame, and with a potential rematch with a Utah team that is up inside the top 10 and will probably, as these next couple of weeks go by, climb up even higher up into the top 10. They're trying to put them into a spot, Chris, where if USC wins out, that they can justify jumping them to the 4th spot is what they're trying to do, in my opinion.
Well, that's a lot of ifs to come. I've got what USC has done in front of me, and it's not impressive. We talk a lot about comparing college football to college basketball. In other words, like you get a lot of wins that are against NIT type teams that were such thing for football. That's what USC's got right now. And really only a couple of those in Oregon State and Washington State.
Yeah.
Nobody else they beat is worth 2 cents.
Oh, I agree. The Pac-12 is awful as a whole, in my opinion. I don't think it's good quality.
Well, it's top heavy, and USC has not played the teams that are in that group yet.
It's top heavy, but look at the top. Okay. Oregon played Georgia. Georgia destroyed them. Utah came to Florida. Florida beat them. And Florida's a mediocre team. I mean, there's,
I'm going to talk about Florida later.
Yeah, they got to face the surging Vanderbilt Commodores. I mean, it's like old Lou Brown said in Major League, we won a game today. We won a game yesterday, boys. We win today. That's 2 in a row. We win tomorrow. That's called a winning streak. It has happened before. So I love bringing out my 90s movies references. It was as good as
good. That's a pretty good Lou Brown
last week, and now it's a Lou Brown this week. Jack Nicklaus.
Jack Nicklaus and Jack Nicholson both made appearances last week. Yes, they did.
That was an all-timer. That really was.
Hey, look, on the USC discussion, let me just say this. I said this morning, Chris, on our video, I think they're going to lose to somebody. Maybe UCLA, maybe Notre Dame, maybe the Pac-12 championship. I think they easily have the toughest schedule left of anybody. So I think they're going to lose one of these games.
I do too, but I think do you not agree that the committee?
I see what. Yeah, you're right.
If they win those 3 games, that's how they justify putting them in there. Is what I'm saying.
Putting them as close as they are, it is fully set up for them to jump Tennessee if they win out. I think. And I think we kind of said that, Chris. That was I think what we came to on our discussion. But
so who Tennessee has to root for is everybody that's facing the TCU Horned Frogs right now. That's what Baylor, Iowa State, Kansas State in the title game. That is who Tennessee needs to be rooting for. And then, of course, beating other teams into a just bloodied pulp over there when their lifeless bodies are laying on the ground across from them, just hammering down on top of them.
Okay, I said I was going to bring Florida into this. I think Florida's little run it's made recently is the most untalked about thing in the SEC right now. I think the Gators have turned into a legitimately good football team. Blake, I did my computer thing today where I averaged, what was it? Sagarin, FPI, SP Plus, FEI, and the power rank that Ed Fang does. Florida's number 19 team in the country right now, according to that. Remember, Florida's beaten Utah. So, you know what? And this is where I connect it back to Tennessee. Let's say Florida beats Vandy this weekend, which I think is going to happen, and beats Florida State, which could happen. Florida State, suddenly a pretty good team. Florida could be a 8-4 top 25 team, and all of a sudden that is another nice little bullet point on Tennessee's resume that gets a little bolder going into the playoff.
I said with Florida, I think they've been playing a lot better than people have given them credit for, even in a couple of the losses. There were some of those stretches. And like I said, I mean, they lost by 22 to Georgia, but, you know, there were things in there. If you're just looking at it from a progress standpoint, you could certainly see, you know, LSU, they got Jaden Daniels, like a lot of people have. But really, you know, beyond that, I know they beat a shorthanded A&M team, but, you know, obviously South Carolina was out without Marshawn Lloyd, and you can find these things in all these games. But if you just watch them, I think they're clearly playing a lot better and have a chance to have a strong finish here. We talked about it, Chris. You know, they should win this game this week against Vanderbilt. If they do that, like you're talking about a significant game just for the Florida program in that, you know, one next week at Florida State, because, you know, you win that one, you're Billy Napier, and you think about kind of the way you started your season, beating Utah, finishing your season, you know, in the regular season, beating Florida State on the road, and what you've kind of done in between the progress. Yeah, I mean, I think if you're a Florida fan, you're much more optimistic about things moving forward than you were, you know, when they were just so up and down. I think now they're starting to find some things that, you know, still not a perfect defensive team, but offensively, I mean, they're, like we said, the three-headed monster on the ground has just been something to watch. So
they are the team, from what I'm told, that when teams in the league are talking about, or people in the league are talking about who's the next up-and-coming power, that's the one that gets pointed to. It's Florida. And I think they're right. You look at what Billy Napier has done. You look at the discipline. Florida's the least penalized team in the league. It's number one in turnover margin. The talent's not there. They are lacking some depth. They're lacking a lot on defense. But you look at what they've done with that offense. He's developed an identity. They run the ball really, really, really well. They've improved Anthony Richardson. He hasn't thrown a pick in, 4 or 5 games now? I love what they're doing there.
Yeah, I'm going to take Vandy with the points. Give me Vandy surging right now. Mike Wright at home. Come on now. Give me Mike Wright. The mobile quarterbacks give that Florida defense a little bit of trouble. Mike Wright moving the chains up there, keeping Anthony Richardson and company off the field. I mean, they're getting 14 at home. You know, I think Vandy could keep it within 2 touchdowns, at least backdoor cover that thing. Vandy's playing a good brand of football right now. You talk about not having depth. Obviously, Vandy does not have it, but you talk about playing with discipline and playing hard. Heck, man, Clark Lee has those guys believing and playing hard, and I think they're, you know, Davis is physical in the run game. You know, Mike Wright actually played settled. He didn't try to, you know, force too many things, all that kind of stuff. I could see him hanging around a little bit in that game. Backdoor cover in that 14. Kentucky is awful right now. You're right.
Yes.
I was super high on Kentucky coming in this year. I thought it was man, I thought it was going to be a 10-2 type year for Kentucky, but I vastly underestimated how awful the offensive line would be for Kentucky this year, Chris, because they have the weapons. I mean, Will Levis, make no mistake about it. I know that some people, and even I think you have pointed out that I think, the NFL may be a little bit overhyped on Will Levis, but I think he'll get an opportunity. He'll probably be a starting quarterback for 3 or 4 years in the NFL before somebody either pulls him or he's a success, one of the two. But they've got wide receivers who are talented. They've got a very talented running back. But, man, they don't have an offensive line. They can't run the football, and they can't protect Will Levis.
Well, and before this gets out of hand, my point on Levis all along is I just thought that for a kid 2 years ago that was leaving Penn State because he couldn't start and was considered a mobile quarterback, the hype train on Levis has accelerated really, really quickly. Now, I watch him. I see the same thing that people like, but you need a little bit more sample size, I think. Now, the problem with him, and in his defense, is I think he's playing hurt. I don't think he's the same guy. I don't know that I judge him as a pro prospect. I'm not saying he can't play, because if he is hurt, and again, that offensive line is dreadful, those things matter. I'm just saying I would like to see a little more body of evidence before we make him into Dan Marino.
Oh, yeah. I think what people are doing, and Blake, you may have thought on that. I think they're trying to make him into Josh Allen 2.0 because of his physical stature, his ability to run, his rocket arm, that kind of stuff. And hey, by the way, who had ever heard of Josh Allen at Wyoming before he came out too? So.
Yeah.
My nephew had.
Well, here's what I'm doing right now, guys. As you were talking, I'm looking at some of the most updated mock drafts all across, everywhere. I will be honest with you. I know we were talking about him as a first round pick, but when I'm looking at these mock drafts and I'm seeing many mock drafts that have him in the top 5 going to either the Lions or the Panthers, that worries me for Levis too, to be honest with you, because I think he needs to be in a position, which again, it depends on, will they play him right away? Who knows? But that's a lot of money you're committing, right? If you draft him that high. Those are interesting spots to me. I've even seen some mock drafts that have Bryce Young going behind him. I don't these are the kind of things that we'll see how it plays out, but I just think that it's an interesting setup for Will Levis, kind of, if we're looking ahead. I know we've kind of talked about this year, but like we said, it's sort of, I'm not sure where he falls, but seeing him in the top 5 in a lot of these, and potential destinations in Carolina, which is just a mess, and Detroit, which can never seem to kind of.
I mean, in my opinion, he needs to go somewhere he needs to go somewhere. He needs to go somewhere like a Seattle or like a Denver. Somewhere.
There's some people, yeah. Some of these mocks have one's had Seattle, one has Washington. I think
they just drafted Sam Howell last year.
I was going to say, I don't. But again, mock drafts, we know they change all the time. But I found that curious as we're having this conversation. If we're looking ahead and kind of looking at where people are projecting him, Indianapolis is one here. I don't know. It's an interesting thought, I think, where he goes. So
I want to ask you guys, if you are an NFL general manager, and right now you can pick one quarterback, it doesn't have to be in next year's draft, but between now and the next 15 years, you get that guy the whole time. Among all the guys in the SEC, who are you taking?
Next 15 years of guys currently in the SEC.
Yeah, and the reason I say that allows you to pick a freshman, a backup somewhere, that gives you some time, if they declare for the draft 2-3 years from now, that kind of thing. I guess a better way to I've managed to complicate that.
I was about to say, I got confused.
Which I'm good at doing. I'm great at doing that. I guess the better way to say it, and I don't know why I didn't say this the first time, which quarterback on an SEC roster is going to have the best NFL career?
Boy, that's
I know what you want me to say, but I'm not going to say it. because I don't think it's true. I think, and I know people are going to get upset, and this is not trolling. This is a honest assessment. Hendon Hooker is a product of Josh Heupel's offense. Okay. There's a reason that you go look at all those mock drafts, and Hendon Hooker's nowhere to be found. Okay. That's why. So I would throw him out. I would throw Stetson Bennett out because I don't think Stetson Bennett has the measurables. It's got to be Bryce Young. Okay. Bryce Young is the modern day, NFL stud that can do everything. I know that physically he may not hold up over time. But man, he can. You look at what Tua's doing. At different points in times, Kyler Murray's had great success in the NFL in terms of being productive. I know he's a head case, but he's been productive at different times and can do different things. And I think Bryce Young is just so mentally there as well, and has the ability to escape. He has his ability to escape. He has a rocket arm. Give me Bryce Young for the next 15 years as my quarterback, and I'll take it all day long.
Blake? Yeah, that'd be my pick. And I get, like I said, I get the physicality part of it, and like you said, it may not. I don't know, that is certainly a question people will have, but I still think if we're just picking based on what we've seen to this point and projecting ahead, I still think that he's going to be okay. Because I think there are things that can be fixed with him that maybe you have questions about. I think he would be the pick for me. But again, you asked the specific question. If I'm a GM and I'm doing this and I'm staking my franchise on it, right, for the next 15 years, if I'm in that spot, I would want what I feel like is the most sure thing of the group, not necessarily, well, this guy could get there, or that guy could get there if this happens or that happens. I think I would still go with a Bryce Young. But I do think there, as people are pointing out in the comments, I think there are some understandable questions on that regard. But I can't say beyond that. Like I said, everyone else, am I 100% confident on those guys either? No. So
let me tell you who I think may end up being the best NFL player, not quarterback, but player, is Anthony Richardson. When they move him to tight end in the NFL, he's going to be
just like they did Tim Tebow.
He's going to be like they're going to move Anthony Richardson right off the bat. He's going to go. He's going to get to go right off the bat, and he's going to be like Gronk 2.0 over there. That guy, he can run for sure. Anthony Richardson, move him to tight end. He'll play in the league for 12 years. Honestly, if I was going to take a backup to who I think other than Bryce Young is going to be really good in the pros because of the style of play, and I just think how the NFL is going forward, I think Jaden Daniels is going to be a good NFL.
You know what? He was like, I had him close there, and I didn't know like what we think. I think though, you're right, Blayne. You pointed this out a little while back. Like, you can see some things that if like, not just like what we've seen with him, right? You've seen things in his head start to turn. Like, you've seen him do things that he wasn't doing earlier this season. That awareness, I think, has gotten better in a lot of those situations. So I'm with you on that. I wouldn't be surprised if he kind of becomes one of those guys either. So
when he plays in a pro style offense, so he's going to be already, he's going to already, have a little bit more of the nomenclature maybe than a guy like a Will Rogers would, for example. That's what hurts Will Rogers. Will Rogers can sling the football, but guess what? He's a product of that system as well. And when he goes in there to play quarterback, he's probably going to be going into an NFL camp for the first time and looking guys in the eye in the huddle and having to call a play. You know what I'm saying? Like because right now they look at a wristband or they look at a signal at the sideline. But that's a big deal when you have to do that kind of stuff and things like that. And I think Jaden Daniels is extremely mobile, has a huge arm, and has played in a more pro style type system. So people are going to already dropping in the chat. I think Hendon Hooker is a better college football player than Jaden Daniels is right now. I think you're talking about pro game. There's a reason that pros are different. Tim Tebow's, in my opinion, the greatest college football player of all time. He was awful in the pros, awful, except for one run that literally I think God intervened on there in that run of that season. there was nothing short of miraculous of that run in Denver there. But I'm just telling you, there's a big difference when we're talking. You have to separate the two. You have to separate, I like this guy because he plays for my team and he's going to be a good college, good NFL player. Hendon Hooker's phenomenal. I think he should be in New York as a Heisman trophy candidate. I don't think he's going to be a great NFL quarterback. There's a difference.
I will give you my answer in just a minute. But first, a word from our presenting sponsor, Stakes. Predict sports better than the crowd for a chance to win NFTs. With Stakes, players can submit their sports predictions against friends, other fans, and influencers forever. Don't let your sports genius go overlooked. Join Stakes and have the best predictions captured in the moment. Head to playwithstakes.com/14. That is STAKES. Use our invite code Southeastern14 for a double welcome bonus. They are our presenting sponsor, friends of the show, good guys. Help out those who help our show. And again, it's all free. Free to join, free to play. It's not a betting app. It's just a predictions app. And it's a lot of fun. Okay, my answer is the same as yours. I like Bryce Young. Give me a guy who's got a good head on his shoulders, who's accurate, who's mobile enough, all those things. What have I missed?
Well, I was just going to say, Tyler put Hooker is already older than some NFL quarterbacks. Him and Stetson Bennett are already older than 11 starting NFL quarterbacks currently.
Levis, I think, might be too.
I mean, they're getting close to drawing AARP checks. You know what I'm saying? Like what's going on here? Like they got all kinds of stuff going on. The Social Security's trying to get their information, all this kind of stuff. That's why Bryce Young, Jaden Daniels, these type of guys are more of the NFL brand. One, they're younger. Two, I mean, they're not as big of projects, I think, for the NFL. I would say another take on here, but I don't want to be totally eviscerated over here. But Chris, go ahead. You said Bryce Young. Is there anybody else that's even close?
Our man Juan named the guy that I think people need to watch for a long term. That's AJ Swan at Vandy. Very, very gifted arm, but a long way to go between now and then. A lot of kids at that age and stage look like they've got the tools, and then but you need a little track record. But watch that one. I'm impressed that I thought I was going to pull that one out and impress the crowd, but Juan beat me to it.
By the way,
who's the kid LSU's got?
Donovan with some breaking news here. Lane Kiffin has agreed to an 8-year, $800 million contract with Auburn. So you heard it here first from Donovan. So
fully guaranteed from Mr. Yellowwood himself.
The U-Haul's there.
$800 million.
All right. Anyways, Chris, continue.
Oh, I don't know that I had that.
You said something
left.
about
I will say. Well, who's the kid, the freshman at LSU? His name escapes me. That they think is the next big thing down there.
You hadn't asked me, I could have told you.
Hang on.
Yeah, that's the problem.
This came in.
Nussmeier, right?
Well, no, yes. Garrett Nussmeier was there last year.
No. Yeah, Nussmeier's.
You're talking about Howard. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes.
Walker Howard, right?
Walker Howard. That's who it is.
Yeah.
Well, that was a Jeopardy.
Yeah, I couldn't think of it, but they do think a lot of Walker Howard for sure.
Would like to see a little more Connor Wegman at A&M. See what that looks like.
Yeah, well, if Jimbo's still calling the plays, it's not going to be good. I'll just tell you that much right now. That they're just trying to take a chisel and just knock some of the dirt and clay that is formed over that offense right now because it's just so antiquated. Man, it's awful. Like he still runs the same plays that were outdated when Jameis Winston was his quarterback. But the only reason speaking of great, there you go. That's a great quarterback in high school. In high school and college is Jameis Winston, and as good as he was, he's had up and down. Of course, you got to be great in the NFL to be allowed to throw 30 touchdowns and 30 picks in 1 year. That is impressive. Just to be allowed to throw 30 picks. That 30-30 club's hard to. I don't know if that'll ever be touched again there, Chris. But anyways, Jimbo's offense is atrocious, and they have to. I mean, they just have to hire an offensive coordinator over there to see what Connor Wigman can do.
Hendon Hooker's been, and that name's popped up. Look, like you and I are Titans fans. Like if the Titans took a third or fourth round flyer on Hendon Hooker, I wouldn't be upset.
Let's hang on a second. I'm not a huge Titans fan. I'm just a gear guy. I just wear a Titans sweatshirt sometimes.
Oh.
But
I'm making assumptions.
No. I mean, not sure. I mean, I wouldn't. Again, that's a whole other discussion about the state of the Titans quarterback situation. But I don't want to upset Liberty fans with Malik Willis there. But
the thing with Hendon Hooker and Will Rogers, because of the systems that they play in, when they get drafted in the NFL, they have to sit for at least a year because it's going to be so much in terms of the system, doing the things at the line of scrimmage that they have to do, the differences in the nomenclature. It's just different. It is absolutely different because NFL offenses, unless you go to Arizona with Cliff Kingsbury or somebody hires Josh Heupel to the NFL, which Tennessee fans don't want to hear that, but hey, they make them calling for his name before too long and try to hire Josh Heupel out of there. But if that kind of stuff happens, then of course it's a fit. But otherwise, Will Rogers, anybody that plays in an air raid system or plays in a more run and shoot type system like Tennessee's is going to have a little bit of a adjustment there in terms of that. But you talk about developing 2-3 years. There's nobody that's more mature than Hendon Hooker. He's great, literally, age wise and with his spirit and his acumen there. So down the line, maybe, but he's not going to be able to do it right away for a team. I think the most ready person to play day one is Bryce Young.
By the way, if you're in the chat right now, we appreciate all you guys as always. Be sure to hit that like button. That helps the channel out, helps us reach more people. Hit that subscribe button as well if you've not done that thus far. And the super chats, you can do those. Hit that little heart sign down there with the $ sign in it. That just allows you to donate a penny, $1, $1 million, whatever you want to donate to us. That just helps us make more videos for you guys. So be sure to do that. And again, we appreciate you as always.
I thought we could talk about the Auburn coaching situation too, although if Donovan is reported, it's got to be true. 8 years, $800
the U-Haul's at the house, Chris. It's a done deal. I mean, let's call it what it is.
If Donovan is wrong about this, what do you think happens at Auburn?
They're going to hire some guy from BYU that nobody's heard about, and Auburn fans are going to be ticked.
I mean, here's the setup at this point. Like, it's very interesting, isn't it? Because like I said, Chris, I brought up the scenario for, let's say Auburn comes out, blows out Western Kentucky, although Auburn blowing anybody out right now. I don't know, but let's say they come out and just take care of business.
I would beware of Western Kentucky in that game, by the way.
It's a low spread. So anyone who thinks we're not picking on Auburn, it is. I don't know about the Alabama game, but like the Cadillac Williams stuff, I know is gaining a lot of traction with the fan base and all that.
What a powerful moment that was, that speech after. Like, that's awesome.
I mean, that's the thing is, like, you look at all this and Juan's pointing out, like, I get it. Like, all the flashy names are out there and all this other stuff. But, like, the whole thought process was Auburn wanted a fit, right? Like, they wanted the right fit. They wanted an Auburn guy, Chris. You talked about that. That's certainly, one of the things that's been circulating. Well, if that's what you want, I think he is absolutely your guy. But if they're still of the opinion that a Lane Kiffin, which I just, I don't know why, I just don't see it, but maybe it'll happen. Like I said, he would be my first choice if I'm the one making the decision. But, Hugh Freeze's name is still out there. Matt Rule's name is still out there. I even saw something today where
Deion
Dabo was somehow included in this discussion. I don't see that one, but yeah, we'll see. I think it's still as fascinating as it was when this thing started, because I don't know that we're any further along in terms of where they are. So
I got a text today from someone who's given me some pretty good stuff before, and it just reads this: Kiffin's still the target at Auburn, and he's interested, but maybe not enough to say yes. I think that sums it up pretty well. What
sounds like Lane Kiffin in a lot of situations throughout his career.
It does. Like, it does.
He's just almost there, but nah.
Listen, I wouldn't rule out, and this is a total out of name that people may not expect. I wouldn't rule out Dell McGee at Georgia. He played at Auburn. Georgia's running back coach over there, who is a just mercenary when it comes to recruiting. I mean, a terrific recruiter over there, and crazier things have happened on that end. I mean, you got a guy who played at Auburn, who has been there during this run for Georgia. I mean, that could be a name that you hear pop up as well.
Hugh Freeze's name is still getting thrown around out there.
Yeah, they're just not going to let him have a cell phone.
I don't know. I think they're going to swing for the top guys, but it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
Priority number
one. One of the problems with landing Lane Kiffin is a lot of people think Lane would really like to be Alabama's next coach, and if you go to Auburn, that is not going to happen.
Or is it?
I mean, Saban's what? Saban's 71. So
would there be anything more Lane Kiffin-ish than going to Auburn and then spurning the Auburn fan base for Tuscaloosa? There's nothing more that Lane Kiffin loves. Look at that shirt that Blake's wearing. Pro wrestling right there. Lane Kiffin is the number one heel in the business. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, we all know Lane Kiffin's going to find his way back to Tennessee at some point. Let's just all be honest here. Let's be perfectly honest. Okay, Heupel's going to go to the NFL in a decade or whatever, and he's going to have a national championship or something. And Kiffin's going to find his way back to Knoxville. Full circle. So we'll see. So I don't know.
The A&M bunch of guys in the portal thing popped up in the chat too. I also heard that today, that they're probably going to lose 10 to 12 kids in the portal off season.
Highest.
I know that's not a shock, but
I mean, here? Let me ask you guys this. I said this to someone else. What is Jimbo Fisher's pitch to make guys stay right now? What's your pitch? Like, how do you sell guys on this not being? Even if it's not this, like, how do you sell them on, we're going to go from 3 and whatever to we're going to win the SEC West next year?
I can give you a pitch with a straight face. I can. And I said this before the season. I thought A&M at 6 was ambitious. That team was young and has a new quarterback. But you know what? As much as we like to poke fun at A&M, how many games has A&M been blown out of?
I don't think we're poking fun. I think we're just calling reality. Like their
record is reality. We are, but I mean they can be more of a fun punching bag
for the Harrison family.
Just because okay, I mean look, A&M it lends itself to jokes with the NIL and all those things and the Fisher contract, and everybody's made sport of that all year. But if you're being honest about it, I mean, there's still a top 40 or 50 team in the computers. They're losing most of their games close. But what happens when you've got young players? You're playing freshmen in the SEC when you got 25-year-old quarterbacks in the league. I mean, A&M at 6 in the preseason was absurd. And if they're losing games, not by much, with young kids, you bring it back for there it is, for another year or two.
Who put that there? It wasn't me, by the way. We know who the culprit is.
Is there a fan base you have not ticked off at some point this year?
And I mean, you gotta listen. All I do is speak truth. Okay, they are 3-7. They're 3-7. People got mad at me when I said that Tennessee's offensive line was not going to be able to handle Georgia's front, and that their defensive line wasn't going to be able to handle Georgia's front. It was true. Texas A&M is atrocious, and they will be atrocious again next year. It's true. I mean, that's just how it goes. I'm not saying anything. I said Florida can't stop the run. It's true. That's why Davis I'm calling Davis to have a big day for Vandy this week, man.
You know what I'm picturing right now?
I'm sorry, but this comment right here.
That's true, Mr. Jones.
No, I'm sorry. That might be one of the best comments. Like, that's just wow. That just hit at the right time, I think.
That was good. I'm picturing Blayne talking with his pregnant wife and saying, "But honey, I just speak truth."
I do speak truth. I'm not. It's not like I'm over here just making stuff up. I'm saying, you may disagree, but I'm telling stuff that I believe to be factual, and that's what we bring here, is bringing just the facts, And here's the thing: when it comes down to it, on all these SEC teams, okay, there's legitimately about the SEC as a whole. We love, as SEC people who cover the SEC, people who are entrenched in watching the SEC, we like to think that, hey, there's this perception that top to bottom, the SEC is just so much better than everything else. Really, there's about 4 or 5 teams that are carrying this thing, and that's it. And everybody else is just kind of riding the coattails. I know that the drafting and all that kind of stuff, people like to say that, oh, there's more players but where are they getting drafted from? They're getting drafted from Florida, Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, and LSU. Those are where the players are getting drafted from, and
that's
on the majority of it. Seriously, I think I'm an SEC guy, but I'm telling you, I think sometimes it gets made a little bit stronger than what it is, and I think it's a little top heavy at times.
Well, I mean, but it runs in cycles. I mean, okay, you've got Georgia, LSU, Alabama have all been really strong for the better part of 15 years. Georgia really more towards the last 5. I mean, Georgia was winning 10 games with Mark Richt a lot.
Yeah, and
Florida's won how many?
Yeah,
Florida's won how many national titles? Auburn's won a couple of national titles.
Who did I list? I listed Florida, Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, and LSU as the schools that predominantly produce most of your NFL talent. Occasionally, you'll have a sprinkle run of Kentucky, like they had 6 or 8 guys drafted a couple years over the last couple years each cycle. But most of the time, it's those schools that are really producing most of the talent.
All right, we need to Google search players in the NFL, but I mean, but is that any different than any other league? Like, is Oregon State putting as many players in the league as USC?
No, I just think there's a misperception out there, misconception about everybody in the SEC is just loaded. I think a lot of times the stragglers on in the SEC just get to benefit from the spoils that the top, and that's going to be the same thing you see in the Big Ten over there. So what it really is there's a collection of elite teams and elite programs that have the ability to get into that upper echelon, and the rest of these programs. That's why I think eventually you're going to see all this conference movement roll around, and you're going to see all the conference movement roll around, and eventually it's going to be this elite super conference of teams like Ohio State, Michigan, Georgia, Alabama. I could see Tennessee and Florida being put in there as well. Then to take the elite teams, Texas, Oklahoma, that are from the Big 12 that are being moved out. It's going to be a big super conference in about 10, 15 years of the elite of the elite teams, USC, all that kind of stuff. But, that's how it's going to go.
All right, real quickly, guys. Our friends at Prize Picks, the easy way to play daily fantasy. You pick a couple players, the over/under on the projections, win up to 10 times on any entry, just you against the projected numbers. You can mix sports. You can take the over in an NBA game, under on a Patrick Mahomes. Don't ever take the under on Patrick Mahomes, by the way. He's probably going over on everything minus interceptions. Every sport, NFL, college football, NBA, college basketball, you name it, it's all there. Check out our friends at Prize Picks. I'm going to drop the link to this in the chat here so you guys can check that out if you would like, and use that code there, and you can put it in and have some fun with our friends at Prize Picks. Code is SCC14. And as always, we appreciate your support of our proud affiliates here. So there you go. Continue on.
Look at this. Harrison family coming through strong right there. That's all I need. That's all the confidence I need. Harrison family right there. If they're on board, I feel good about it, Chris.
Well, I mean, it's not like these other teams. I just pulled something up. The SEC's got a database on its site. Like Arkansas has got 16 players in the league.
Versus but I'm saying
versus
Georgia.
Well, yeah, I mean versus Georgia and Alabama, everybody's going to look kind of puny, but
even Florida produces a ton of pros.
Right.
Florida's a ton of pros. LSU's got, I mean, look at dang, Joe Burrow and Justin Jefferson, and I mean they've
35.
Yeah, where's LSU at?
Oh, I have to count. They don't give it by number. So
they don't give it by
number. I'll count while you guys speak.
Blake, what do you think? Do you think I'm being misled there by saying that, really it's 5 or 6 teams carrying this league?
I mean, look, I think this is to me, this is one of those where we're going to turn Chris loose for about a week, and we're going to let him dive into all the spreadsheets and numbers, because he's a spreadsheets and numbers guy.
55 from LSU.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I was going to say
that's a whole NFL roster. That's crazy.
It's a lot of guys, right? I would like to see that number.
Last year. 15 drafted last year. That's unreal. And Alabama had the record before that, I think, with 13 or 14. I mean, ridiculous. But that's why I say Texas is an elite program. Texas can't win. Their culture is awful. They cannot put it together and win games. But man, there's a bunch of Texas players in the NFL.
I'm laughing at Donovan.
I see Donovan's comment about our basketball power rankings.
Donovan, I would be very disappointed if you hadn't noticed.
Donovan, we got to drop Kentucky, right? Like, we got to drop Kentucky. We got to move Auburn up. I get it. So
Kentucky will drop further on November 20th. Right
here. There you go. So, anyways, all right, guys.
By the way,
quick hitters.
Speaking of, I got to update everybody real quick. Tennessee, they're up 15-12 on Texas right now. Gonzaga is, by the way.
So. There you go. We'll see what Chris Beard and company can do there. Is there anything we want like this the rest of this week 12 schedule? Like who best chance in an upset? Is that just by default Arkansas? Because technically, they would beat the number 14 team. Do we think that's probably, or I mean, I just Kentucky, South Carolina, I just don't.
I think that Arkansas Ole Miss game is the most interesting one of the week because it's going to be cold. Ole Miss is hitting the road. It's an early kickoff?
No, it's a late kickoff.
No, okay, it's a late kickoff. Okay, so there's not that, and then Ole Miss came off a bitterly disappointing loss that erased any slim chance it had to win the league and make the playoff.
It's the most interesting non-conference or the out-of-conference game this week. I think it's LSU UAB. I just want to watch Dwayne McBride play. So,
Auburn Western.
Oh, Eric over here wanting to jab at preseason scrimmage against Gonzaga with Tennessee. Okay.
Hey, don't hate on Eric. He asked some good questions about Tennessee in the comments, one of our videos recently. So we appreciate you.
Preseason, man. Preseason.
Ball's shot it better tonight, man. Eric. So
yeah, that's right. We're talking about practice.
We've really tried to figure out how to make this Week 12 schedule something. But here you go, guys. By the way, if you're trying to figure out why we have not talked a ton about Week 12, it's because every week we always do our preview videos for every single game, and yes, that includes a Mississippi State, ETSU, Texas A&M, and UMass. Chris and I always have some fun on sort of the out of conference big spread games. We try to make those interesting. So if you want more information on all these games for Week 12, we've already got that for you. All of our videos, we answer your questions on the Wednesday night live streams. We interact with you. That's what this show is mostly about. So again, you want a little more insight, check out all of the videos on our channel. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button before we get out of here in about 10 minutes. That really helps us out.
So Arkansas beat South Dakota State. How good are they this year? I mean, that's usually that's one of the top mid-major programs around generally.
The Jackrabbits, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the Jackrabbits. I mean, here's the deal with Arkansas, right? I don't like, what do I do until Nick Smith gets back? They look good so far, but like, I want to see him on the floor. I mean, he's going to be terrific. So yeah, I mean, I think I want to see what they look like once he gets back out there. So, I mean, they're going to be even better. So, yeah. All right. What else you guys got? All right, guys, this is the 10-minute warning here. So if you have any questions, discussions, any questions you want to ask, you can get those in without, for sure you can get them in with a super chat, which we always appreciate. But anything else you want to go to, let us know. I'm going to pull up this question from Juan here earlier. It wasn't really a question, but yeah, I mean, look, Juan, if they were going by top teams, I think we could find a way to make the argument. But 3 teams getting in this year is just going to be, yeah. It's just going to be tough, I think, for all 3 to find a way there, barring just complete chaos elsewhere. So
we want to do best bets.
Sure.
All right.
You guys go first.
Western to cover 7 at Auburn.
Wow.
And maybe
Donovan, what?
Sorry, Donovan.
What is he doing to you,
I know.
Like, blame him. Don't blame me. I'm riding the Cadillac.
We've switched back to football now. Okay, I got glazed over when y'all were talking about SEC basketball there for a minute. I'm the football guy. I gotta stay in football mode. I'm
the football guy who roots for Gonzaga.
There's an Arkansas Gonzaga joke in there somewhere that I will not make.
Oh, that's right.
Rusty and the Harrison family. I can't say they won't though. Just saying.
Hey.
Donovan asked why. Donovan, you've seen your team play, right?
Listen, they have that Cadillac juice going on, man. I don't know about that, but I'm gonna take Auburn. But let's see. What's the line on Tennessee and South Carolina?
By the way, Tyler, you're banned after this.
Oh, what's the line on Tennessee and South Carolina? Seriously, I can't remember.
It's like 21.5, maybe something like that. I'll find it.
Give me Tennessee to cover it by double because Joe Milton is going to just be putting, missiles down the field in the fourth quarter on South Carolina, just down the field. And they're just going to be raining shots in there for touchdowns, style points galore. Tennessee wins by 50 against South Carolina. They're just going to kill them down there.
50. Wow. Boy, I don't love any of these this week, to be honest with you. I'm looking at some of these. I'm like, man, no thanks.
There's a reason we talked less about the games than we've ever done on Wednesday night.
All right, guys, I'm here you go. You ready for it? Here it is. If I'm going to find one, here it is. Texas A&M minus 33.5 against UMass. There you go.
You're taking the Aggies.
This is it for the Aggies.
No.
This is it. Chris, UMass is bad.
UMass is like a middle school.
But I know, but they only give up 30 points a game, and A&M's not.
Chris, who they played? Let's be honest here. Come on.
Did you watch A&M last week?
Yes, but let's not. Again, you said we're supposed to stop picking on A&M. I mean,
okay.
You listen. There could be something to the fact that A&M just doesn't want to be there, right? But yeah, I don't know. So
lots of A&M players won't be there. Okay, I'm just like that's how. No, seriously, there's gonna be some that are.
No, I was agreeing with you. Yeah.
Ended, won't play, all that kind of stuff. That's just how it goes with A&M every other week. It's like Spurrier used to say about playing Georgia the second week of the season. He'd say, I like playing Georgia the second week of the season. They usually got 3 or 4 suspended. That's what he used to say when he was the coach at South Carolina. And now that's everybody every week with Texas A&M because the culture's awful. They're going to have people suspended. They're going to have people out, all that kind of stuff. But no, I do like Texas A&M to cover that spread just because UMass is atrocious. They are so bad.
Listen, if I'm going to A&M, you guys know what I think about everything else on the board. So, yeah, I mean, I think I would like the Georgia one. It's just
that's tempting too.
That's very tempting to me.
I wouldn't take the points there.
It's too high now. I think it's moving up too far.
Too high, and the weather is going to be terrible up there in Lexington. But in all seriousness, Tennessee's going to absolutely demolish South Carolina this weekend.
Probably the next best one. Yeah,
that might be my first. I mean, Carolina was so bad last week at Florida. And Tennessee just has not had an off week yet.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, Tennessee just has not had a bad game against anybody. I mean, you can say Georgia maybe, but that had a lot to do with Georgia. I just feel like Tennessee has steamrolled teams in this type of game all year. I thought that Missouri would cover because of that defense, and Tennessee just ran over that team like it wasn't there.
Oh yeah, I mean it was 28-24 right there, third quarter. Missouri had the Brady Cook magic rolling, and then Heupel said, "Enough of this. We're taking it to the house about 7 times in a row." Okay, so then it was Joe Milton for Heisman time.
By the way, Hog Barbecue asked us a minute ago, what did I just walk into? I feel like at any point in this weekly live stream, you could ask that question and just be like, what have I gotten myself into? And it's probably going to be accurate.
Listen, we try to have fun with this, and Taylor made in here a while ago, man. I hope you understand. We just pepper. One reason I do this is because he gets a reaction out of you guys. So that's part of it. But I do tell the truth when I think certain things, and I think Tennessee's going to just, it's a terrible matchup for South Carolina. I think Tennessee's going to absolutely demolish them. And that's when I'm honest about stuff like that. But I do like to have fun because we got a lot of you guys that, like to go back and forth with it. So,
Chris, you said Western Kentucky's going to cover. Give Lee a score here.
Oh man.
We're going to clip this, by the way.
Let's make it.
I send this to all the Auburn message boards. Donovan, you're in charge of that.
33-24 Western.
Wait, you think they're gonna win? You got them winning by 9 at Auburn. Wow.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
You got to take a shot every now and then. That'll get some comments wanted.
By the way, Donovan. Yes, I agree. I appreciate you calling me the good guy here. I'm the baby face of the group. But no, I'm not an Alabama fan. Alabama and Auburn fans have this fun thing on Twitter where each of them calls me a fan of the other when I'm talking about SEC basketball, and it's really gotten out of hand now. So don't be pushing that.
I've been accused of being a Kentucky homer, a Vanderbilt homer, a Georgia homer.
The Vanderbilt one really got me. That was a good one.
And you've been accused of hating everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I am not in any way, prejudiced. I hate all equally. Okay, so there you go.
At the Zags.
We're gonna do a Kentucky Gonzaga basketball preview, and we did have some internal discussions about bringing Blayne on just to
Zags cover whatever it is.
The Big Blue Nation is gonna have some fun with that one. So, we'll see. So
at least they'll have some fun this year.
I mean, James got the right motivation here. Yeah, favorite team's the one that makes you money. I agree with that, James. There you go.
Good teams win, great teams cover.
That's it. So, oh man. All right, guys. 2-minute warning here. Anything else you want to get in? Actually, we know what we do with the 2-minute warning. Send in your scores for the week. Your outrageous scores, the ones you feel confident about. I know some people have already sent theirs. Scores on any games this week. Send them on in, and we will, as always, award you for your knowledge if you get some of these correct, as everyone has a discussion in the comments about whether there are actually Vanderbilt fans out there. And yes, they are. So Scott is in the chat. Anchor down. So, all right, Chris, as everyone sends their score in, we can wrap it up. And there you go.
Comment of the night. Who was it? That still has me laughing.
So what the A&M one?
Yes. Who do we? Mr. Jones.
I said, what is what was it? Give Jimbo, what would your pitch be? And he said, what was it? You won't lose by much.
Listen, Jimbo Fisher actually said during the season when somebody asked him about the thing, he goes, you want to go somewhere where they win all the time and you got to sit out a couple years? Like, that's literally what he said. That when you've reverted to using Dan Mullen type recruiting speeches during the middle of the year, it's lost cause.
Let's see. This is just not the best week for football. I think the most interesting thing is just trying to figure out what the committee's going to do. We did a video this morning, and the more I look at it, a one-loss Michigan and a one-loss Tennessee, if Michigan beats who it needs to beat to get to one loss, gets to be a more interesting conversation than I thought. I would still go with Tennessee, but Michigan is Michigan may have the best defense in the country.
Tyler, I don't know.
And it would be very interesting to see how the committee would treat that.
Oh, yeah.
Michigan's played a garbage schedule so far, but as we always say, playing a bad schedule doesn't mean you can't be really, really good.
No, I agree. I agree with that.
And for the record, just so nobody misunderstands, I'm still predicting Tennessee to make the playoff. In fact, today we ran a scenario where I think that Tennessee might not only be in as not just be in, but might be in as the 3.
Oh, if Tennessee is in, they will be the 3, because the committee will not do the rematch thing in the first. They just won't do it. If Tennessee is in the playoffs, they're either going to be the 3 seed or they're not going to be in. And that's how it's going to go, in my opinion.
Yes, Donovan, I did. Anyways, final scores coming in here. Scott, there's your Vanderbilt fan checking in. Listen, Scott, you can own the channel if you get that correct.
And I do have to share with the people here, if I'm talking about getting off of this stream so I can go watch the rest of the Gonzaga game. Chris was asking me, what's the deal with Gonzaga before? Listen, I've been out to Spokane and watched games. I was in the arena when they beat South Carolina in the Final Four. I was there when my heart got broken when the dude stepped out of bounds and they didn't call it for North Carolina when he had the ball in his hands in the national championship game. Been a true Zag fan since 1999, and it's not going to change. I'm a Zag for life, so that's my basketball story on that. So I look forward to being on the preview over there for the Kentucky matchup.
Get ready, Kentucky fans. It's going to be fun. So,
man,
might be an all-timer for the channel.
We'll drop 200 subs in one day the minute we bring him on. For that.
And I also honesty and transparency is my thing here. If it is not Gonzaga basketball, I do not follow it. So I will use my ignorance to my advantage on Kentucky, and I will say some of the most outlandish things that have ever been said. So if you want some appointment television, please tune in. We do go way back. Adam Morrison, that's my dude. I still got his jersey in my closet. You want me to go get it? I can go get my Adam Morrison jersey and throw it on real quick.
I have a feeling if they beat Kentucky, we'll be wearing that in the next Wednesday night stream.
Oh boy. All right, guys. Seriously, before you jump out, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. We appreciate you as always. Lots of stuff on the way. All of our videos, we'll have a Kentucky Gonzaga, one of our basketball preview. We're actually going to do an Arkansas Louisville one, although I don't know what we say about Louisville at this point, other than they've lost 3 straight games by 1 point to start the season.
They lost to Bellarmine.
Well,
Bellarmine's
like everyone, Chris. So
off, not even like on the radar as little brother in that same town. It's so small.
There you go. But check out everything. Lots of football, basketball, baseball on the way soon. So check it all out.
Any parting thoughts from you guys?
I thought Bellarmine was like a NATO country or something. I don't know what you're talking about.
We're gonna clip that too. That's a good one. I don't, Chris. The whole theme of the show has been what a terrible week of football this could be. We know something wacky's gonna happen.
Sure,
you just know it. So we always say this in this week, and
Vandy.
We'll see.
Is that the symbol?
I'm not bullish on Vandy to beat Florida. I just think Florida's too disciplined. Florida's too athletic, and I just think that's going to give. I know that's the popular upset pick, right? Florida, I'll say it again if you didn't catch it early, Florida's better than people think.
So is Vandy. They proved it last week.
Right. If you guys are done, I will end on a kind of serious note. Awful thing at Virginia this week. It just breaks your heart when you see stuff like that. When you think of Virginia this week or whatever jogs your mind, say a prayer for that team and that campus. I mean, that's like you and I both covered teams where there were sudden tragedies like that. They leave a mark for life. You never forget them. You never forget the people involved. Losing one guy is bad enough. Losing 3 is horrible. Virginia canceled its game this weekend. Frankly, I wouldn't blame Virginia if it didn't play football the rest of the season. I guess it's just 2 games. But anyway, when you think of that school, say a quick prayer for that campus, for Tony Elliott, their coach, for their staff, for their players. It just, anytime you see or hear something like that, it just breaks your heart. Anyway, thank you for watching our channel. Thank you to our sponsor, Steaks. Thanks to Blayne and Blake for joining me. Thanks to our audience. God bless you all. Have a great week. We've got a lot of videos coming up the next couple of days, and, of course, our live stream next Wednesday. So, again, thanks for watching. We'll see you then.